There is Leon.
I am not worthy, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lucius Cole of the Sanity Stream, the place where you go to gain a little bit of your sanity back in what has become a mind melt known as the United States of America. If you like this type of content, go down below, like, subscribe, share, and of course leave a comment if you think I deserve it. The Coal Factory and the Coal Train on our way to 1,000 Patriots strong, thanks to people like you watching content like this. Ladies and gentlemen, this election is absolutely insane right now. So what I thought I would do for this particular podcast is we're going to take the scenic route, guys. We're going to go off the beaten path, and I'm going to be talking specifically about a tweet by Donald Trump. No. Not that Donald Trump, guys. I'm talking about Donald Trump Jr., who just sends out a little tweet, just kind of puts it into the ether. And what I thought I would do is just kind of run with it and see just how deep the rabbit hole we can go. You're probably wondering what I'm talking about, so let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, this is the tweet. Declassify everything. We can't let the bad actors get away with it. And I really want you to think about this. I want you to think about if you could know the secrets of the United States of America, any secret, maybe not stuff like nuclear codes or how to build a bomb, stuff like that. No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about times in history or systems within the United States of America that are still affecting us to this very day. What type of secrets would you want to know from the NSA, the CIA, the FBI, the Pentagon, anywhere? If you could know any secret in the United States, let me know in the comments below and let me know what you would put on your list. With that said, let's get into some of the things that I would want to ask. First of all, the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. There's been a lot of differing opinions about what exactly happened on that day, so let's just break it down. This is all from Wikipedia. Martin Luther King Jr., an American clergyman and civil rights leader, was fatally shot at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee on April 4, 1968. He was rushed to St. Joseph's Hospital, where he died at 7:05 p.m. He was a prominent leader of the civil rights movement and a Nobel Peace Prize laureate who is known for his nonviolence and civil disobedience. James Earl Gray is the reported killer. A fugitive from the Missouri State Penitentiary, was arrested June 8, 1968 at London's Heathrow Airport, extradited to the United States and charged with the crime. Now, for those of you who don't know, there's a lot more to this story than ever really sees the light of day. And one piece of evidence that I would like to put forth that's never really talked about is how the FBI dealt with Martin Luther King Jr. The FBI actually sent Martin Luther King a suicide letter. So take a look. The FBI King suicide letter or blackmail package was an anonymous 1964 letter and package by the FBI meant to blackmail Martin Luther King Jr. The suicide letter was part of FBI's COINTELPRO operation against King. Wow. So obviously the FBI had a lot to do with what happened with Mr. King. And of course, wouldn't it be nice? It's actually set right now for that particular piece of evidence about what happened to Mr. King that day, all of the history therein. Obviously, usually when they release these records, they still end up redacting them and not actually giving the full files. Now, 2007 is the date where those files are supposed to be dropped, and I can guarantee you, you're not going to get a blip of actual information. So wouldn't it be crazy if Donald Trump, the madman himself, now I'm still holding on that he can win this. I've been listening to People's Pundit. If you don't listen to him, check him out. He's an amazing statistician, and he is someone who has gone deep into what is actually going on. Where are these massive amounts of voters coming in for Joe Biden? But I digress. It's interesting that Martin Luther King died and the FBI had direct involvement with what could have been his assassination. Was James Earl Gray, was he the actual killer? Was he the one that was actually working hand in hand with the FBI? The man did get 99 years in prison, but again, was this the real man? And so let's continue. Another big one that people like to talk about quite a bit. The assassination of John F. Kennedy. The Kennedy assassination. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, was assassinated on Friday, November 22, 1963, at 12:30 Central Standard Time in Dallas, Texas, while riding in a presidential motorcade through Dealey Plaza. Kennedy was riding with his wife, Jacqueline, Texas Governor John Connally, and Connally's wife, Nellie, when he was fatally shot by former U.S. Marine Lee Harvey Oswald, allegedly, firing an ambush from a nearby building. Governor Connally was seriously wounded in the attack. The motorcade rushed to Parkland Memorial Hospital, where Kennedy was pronounced dead about 30 minutes after the shooting. Connally recovered. Now, of course, Lee Harvey Oswald ended up being killed. He was killed by a supposed mobster who just loved the Kennedys so much, even though Kennedy was very, very tough on crime, specifically his brother, which we'll go into in a second. Those same guys are then going to turn around and kill the man that killed Kennedy? I'm confusion, guys. I don't know. Kind of like this election right now. Nothing's making sense. Where are these numbers coming from? How is it that some precincts have 120% voters actually voting? I don't know. Just some questions, guys. Just some questions. Just the banana republic of the United States of America. But let's continue, guys. If you haven't seen, I'm going to show a quick bit here. Hopefully it doesn't get flagged. But this man, if you haven't listened to Bill Hicks, is a comedy genius. He's deceased, unfortunately, but he went into some very deep topics. He was probably one of the torchbearers in terms of actual political comedy in his day. These people that are out now, people like Trevor Noah, people like Bill Maher, these guys are all hacks. They don't go into deep dives. They're not looking to seek and find where corruption is. They're not looking for anomalies and differences in not only data but historical precedent, how somebody died, who was involved, with all of the giant, massive info war going on right now. Either way, take a look at what Bill Hicks has to say when he's talking specifically about where Lee Harvey Oswald apparently shot JFK.
Anyway, they have the window set up to look exactly like it did on that day. And it's really accurate, because Oswald's not in it. Yeah, so, wow, that's good. Yeah.
Unreal. There's so many questions in terms of the JFK assassination, and at the end of the day, I think we all just want to know the truth. Wouldn't it be nice if Donald Trump marched down to the CIA, got those folders, got those documents, simply just took a photo, tweeted it all out? Why not? If these people are willing to cheat and steal their way into an election, why not? Why not leave, if Joe Biden does get in, why not leave him in a heaping, sobbing mess? This is absolutely absurd. And by the way, if you were just to take the political acumen out of it and just do it for the faith in the American people and holding these alphabet letter agencies to heel, because they have been working inside of government, deep state, and I'm not even trying to be, tinfoil hat here. When I say deep state, what I'm talking about is unduly elected bureaucrats that are within government for years at a time, 40, 50, 60 years at a time. And the process continues regardless of who is in power. Republican, Democrat, whatever. It doesn't matter. These people never leave. They are a continual part of the bureaucratic I can't talk. The machine known as Washington, D.C. On to the next one, ladies and gentlemen. Wouldn't you want to know what happened to Mr. Robert F. Kennedy? Now, of course, there was a plane crash as well, I believe, with his, it might have been his nephew who died. So just a ton of Kennedys just ended up all dying. Just out of nowhere, just start dropping like flies. No big deal, guys. On June 5th, 1968, presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy he went by Bobby as well, was mortally wounded shortly after midnight at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. Earlier that evening, the 42-year-old junior senator from New York was declared the winner in South Dakota and California 1968 Democrat Party presidential primaries during the 1968 presidential election. He was pronounced dead at 1:44 on June 6, about 26 hours after he had been shot. Wouldn't you want to know? Wouldn't you want to know? Wouldn't it be interesting to find out how Robert F. Kennedy died? How is it two Kennedys died within such a short span of each other? Just wiping out a political dynasty. Gone. This man was set to possibly become the president of the United States. If you don't think there's not dirty games in the USA, guys, with the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, the Pentagon, if you don't think they're dirty games, then you are not living in America. There is a reason why we are a country that doesn't have the largest landmass, that doesn't have massive amounts of troops. You know, we have a very strong army. We have a very large standing army, but we are a volunteer unit. Why do you think we are able to basically move along the world with impunity? How is it America consistently gets breaks across the world that just so happen to favor us? Either way, another thing, ladies and gentlemen, that I think we all need an answer on: Iraq. What happened to those WMDs? You see, the original source material that said that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction was then used by other people as a source. Then an additional source then chooses the person who just sourced the source material as another source. And then all of a sudden, it looks as if there's this mounting pile of evidence. In reality, there was only one piece of source information. But because of this huge umbrella that they're creating, it's as if they're creating this vision, this mirage, this red mirage, guys. Unbelievable. This mirage that this is actually what happened. This is actually what transpired. You see, I hear a lot of people today kind of, memory holing a lot of this because the media of today actually moves at such a quick rate. People can't remember what it was like just 2 or 3 years ago because the news cycle is so fast. So now I really want you to think, why did we go to Iraq, guys? Afghanistan made more sense. Al-Qaeda, the Taliban at the time, that made sense. Why is it we're now going into Iraq? I don't know, guys. Like I said before, Donald J. Trump should go down there, unseal all the documents, release them all to the American people to know. And as long as we're talking about the Middle East, how about Benghazi, guys? Why is it the two countries like Iraq, Libya, both trying to get off the American petrodollar, were immediately attacked? Why is it places like Benghazi, where they were being pushed, that it was a video that got people to go out and attack the U.S. consulate? Why is it that Hillary Clinton lied about Benghazi and what actually happened there? Why is there a photo of John McCain a few months earlier with Muammar Gaddafi and then only to have him killed a few months later? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Oh, and by the way, there's a slave trade in Libya now. So, I guess if Joe Biden gets in, I guess you can look forward to more of that. I don't know. Just a question, guys. What happened in Benghazi? What happened in Libya? Let's go back even farther, guys. What happened in Vietnam? The Vietnam War, also known as the Second Indochina War, and in Vietnam as the Resistance War against America, or simply the American War, was a conflict of Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia from November 1st, 1955 to the fall of Saigon, which is Ho Chi Minh City today, on 30 April 1975. It was the second of the Indochina Wars and was officially fought between North Vietnam and South Vietnam. North Vietnam was supported by Soviet Union, China, and communist allies. South Vietnam was supported by United States, South Korea, Philippines, Australia, Thailand, and other anti-communist allies. What started that, guys? Now, obviously, they say it was communism, 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 communism. But what actually led to that war? And what types of acts did the United States military actually do while in the country of Vietnam? Now, I myself have talked to a few Vietnam vets. I'm a veteran myself. And I'm here to tell you that the United States of America did some very bad things. I have a couple of my Vietnam, I guess I can call them friends or veterans. They specifically told me that they would receive an order to go in and wipe out a town. Now, when they say go in and wipe out a town, they're not saying go in, find the bad guys, wipe out a town. No, they're saying go in and kill everyone inside of that town. Now, they say all is fair in love and war, and of course we can always look back, but we have to be able to see our faults in order to learn from them. And simply hiding them and trying to misdirect is not fair to not only currently serving veterans, and believe me, I'm not attacking veteran or active duty whatsoever. It's a very tough job. But again, we have to understand that if there is a mission that comes that does not involve America and protecting it, why exactly are we fighting in those wars? And why are we carrying out orders that are against basic human principles? That's all I'm saying. Of course, I mean, again, there are some evil bastards out there, kill them all, and honestly, I mean, I even hate to say it, but, even some, if their families are working with them, fair game, okay? Fair game. But all of those people weren't a part of that. Yeah, I mean, it's so much easier, sitting here, on a chair, just armchair quarterbacking and not actually being in it. But we have to learn from this type of stuff, guys. Malcolm X, guys. What happened to Malcolm X? Who killed Malcolm X? Malcolm X was an African-American Muslim minister and human rights activist who was a popular figure during the civil rights movement. He's best known for his time spent as a vocal spokesman for the Nation of Islam. Now, you know how I feel about the religion of peace, guys, but this man was a truth speaker. And I'm not going to judge a man based on a religion. I'm going to base the man based as an individual. This is actually from roughly 10 years ago. Malcolm X killer freed after 44 years. Thomas Hagen, the only man who admitted his role in the 1965 assassination of iconic black leader Malcolm X, was paroled Tuesday. So he's actually a walking free man. Hagen had been in a full-time work release program since March 1992 that allowed him to live with his family in Brooklyn 5 days a week and reporting to prison 2 days a week. He's saying, I have deep regrets about my participation in that when he talks about Malcolm X getting gunned down in the New York's ballroom in 1965. I don't think it should have ever happened. Hagen had been sentenced 20 years to life imprisonment after being found guilty at trial with 2 others in 1966. The other 2 men were released back in the 1980s and have long denied involvement in the killing. And you saw exactly what happened with MLK. Why is it the FBI sends an anonymous letter to Martin Luther King saying, hey, we're going to suicide you if you don't stop? And now they have a giant statue in Washington, D.C. of MLK. It just seems like, guys, and I hate to be a doomer, I hate to be blackpilling here, but it seems like every time, I'm surprised that Donald Trump hasn't been assassinated. I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves. He has had to probably shake some hands of some very dirty people. Some very, very dirty hands. because it just seems like we're seeing a bit of a pattern here that anybody who is an actual revolutionary, somebody who's actually looking out for the people and the people's interests, and dare to fight against these alphabet agencies or dares to fight against the United States deep state, they're assassinated. They're killed. Welcome to the United States of America. It's sad. Damn, I really didn't want this podcast to be a doomer, guys. I wanted this to be exciting. Just kind of looking at like what would I do? What would we all do? All right, and this is the last one, guys. Last one. And again, guys, go down below, leave a comment. What would you want to see declassified? What would you want to see in terms of Donald Trump going down there, going to the NSA, CIA, FBI, Pentagon, and releasing the documents and letting the American people know the truth? I would like to see what happened at the meeting at Jekyll Island. A secret gathering at the scheduled island off the coast of Georgia in 1910 laid the foundations for the Federal Reserve System. November 10th, 6 men, Nelson Aldrich, Piatt Andrew, Henry Davidson, Arthur Shelton, Frank Vanderlip, and Paul Warburg met at the Jekyll Island Club off the coast of Georgia to write a plan to reform the nation's banking system. The meeting and its purpose were closely guarded secrets, and participants did not admit to the meeting occurred until the 1930s, but the plan written on Jekyll Island laid the foundation for what would eventually be the Federal Reserve System. This is one big reason I got behind Ron Paul. And you saw what happened to Jo Jorgensen here. She talked a similar game. I didn't really like what she was talking about in terms of having to be an active anti-racist. I mean, that is probably the most anti-libertarian stance I have ever seen, with a few exceptions. But again, why is it that our money, something that everybody wants more of, everyone wants a sound economy, everyone wants to know that when they're saving money, that money is actually holding relative to inflation, holding its power? Why is it that this is never talked about? Ever. It blows my mind. But again, guys, all this stuff just gets memory hold. These are real issues. This is a deep, true issue. Money. This is what makes the world go round. This is what shakes hands. This is what free trade. This is what creates capitalism. This is what creates the greatest nation on earth, despite all of our flaws. And there are many. Why is it this is not a main thing? And what I want to show you here is what's happened from the establishment of the Federal Reserve. So the purchasing power of $1 from the time of the Federal Reserve, which was established in 1913. So the 1913, this is how much a dollar is worth. It's worth, there's based on a scale, it's worth $1. $1 is worth $1. This is the value of the dollar since the inception of the Federal Reserve. So in a 10-year time span, it loses half of its value. It starts to knock back up to about 75%, and then FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, suspends gold convertibility, makes gold illegal for U.S. citizens to own, meaning that you can't trade with gold. That is now illegal. You must use our paper money in order to trade. All of a sudden, over the next, 40 years, it goes down to about, a third of its 0.3 in terms of its value. And then in 1971, Nixon suspends Bretton Woods gold exchange system and removes us completely from the gold standard in terms of the dollar. And now take a look. This is back to about 2013. The dollar has lost 96% of its value since 1913. And that's why you see that, guys. You don't see, there's no penny candy stores. Those things don't exist. Penny candy stores? Are you kidding me? There's not even a dollar menu at fast food restaurants anymore because the dollar is worth jack. Imagine being someone who has saved their entire life only to have the money that you've been saving simply just all of its value just deteriorate massively over time. And yet this is not being talked about. Declassify it all. Declassify it all. And again, I don't think anything will happen. I don't. Because I think if Donald Trump, just like the people I said before, like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, JFK, Kennedy, if that type of information, that's the type of information that will get you killed. And I think that if he was to do that, he would be killed. And I think he knows that. I think he knows that. But with that said, guys, let me know down in the comments below, what would you declassify? What would you want the American people to see and the world to see? And where do you think we could go with this? Could we actually put our finger on the pulse and at the very least, maybe not all of it, but maybe we can get pieces. Maybe just a few crumbs, right, guys? You know what? We're getting ready for the breadlines if Biden gets in, right? So might as well get some crumbs while we're at it, right, guys? With that said, yeah, leave a comment below. Sorry, I'm all over the place today, guys. Can't even talk. If you like this type of content, my name is Lucius Cole, the Sanity Stream. Hopefully you gained a little bit of your sanity back in what has become a mind melt known as the election in 2020. If you like this type of content, go down below, like, subscribe, share, and of course leave a comment if you think I deserve it. The Coal Factory and the Coal Train on our way to 1,000 Patriots strong, thanks to people like you watching content like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you guys. Peace. Coal Train. Choo-choo!